Lucas Hayes, 38, a millionaire CEO known for pioneering clean energy in San Francisco, seems to have it all: wealth, power, prestige. But beneath the polished exterior lies a hidden wound, the haunting belief that his child, conceived during a fleeting college romance, was lost to adoption. That guilt has never left him. One rainy afternoon, at a homeless shelter fundraiser, Lucas notices a quiet boy reading a tattered book on solar energy. Blonde hair, blue eyes, a dimple on his left cheek, just like Lucas. When the boy, Noah, says he's never met his parents, Lucas's world stops. Driven by instinct, Lucas digs deeper. DNA confirms the impossible. Noah is his son. A son who's spent years in shelters, sleeping on floors while Lucas built a mansion by the bay. Now, Lucas must face the hardest truth: he wasn't there. As Lucas welcomes Noah into his home, their bond grows slowly, built on solar kits, stargazing, and difficult questions. But when the story goes viral, media pressure threatens their fragile peace. Will Noah accept the father who never knew he existed? Can love grow in the space guilt once ruled? And, in the midst of it all, a symbol of redemption, a solar model Noah builds for Lucas's office, becomes their bridge to healing. Subscribe to see this heartfelt story unfold, because sometimes the brightest light comes from the shadows we dare to face. The wind whipped off the bay as Lucas Hayes stepped out of his black SUV, the sharp lines of his tailored suit softened only by the gray San Francisco fog rolling through the Mission District. His assistant trailed behind, clipboard in hand, listing donation numbers and media contacts. But Lucas wasn't listening. He scanned the chipped brick of the shelter's entrance, the handwritten signs, the rows of folding chairs set up for the charity's afternoon panel. Lucas had attended a dozen of these events before, wrote checks, shook hands, posed for photos, then left. But today, something pulled at him. Inside, the community room buzzed with noise. Volunteers served chili. Kids scribbled with broken crayons at long tables. Lucas walked past a girl bouncing a tennis ball off the wall, past a cluster of teens arguing about who got the last juice box. Then he saw him. A boy, maybe 10, sat cross-legged in the corner, hunched over a battered hardback. Solar Breakthroughs of the 21st Century. The cover was torn. His small finger traced a diagram of a photovoltaic cell. Lucas stopped. The boy had shaggy blonde hair, just like he'd had at that age. His nose slightly upturned. Blue eyes that flicked up once met Lucas's, then dropped again. And a dimple. Left cheek. Deep and familiar. Lucas felt something squeeze in his chest. He stepped closer. "Hey, that's a good book," he said softly. The boy looked up, blinking. "You know about solar?" Lucas smiled faintly. "A little. I build solar panels for a living." The boy sat up straighter. "Really? I want to do that someday. Build stuff, make lights turn on, even when it's cloudy." Lucas's throat tightened. "What's your name?" "Noah," he said. "Noah Gray. I've been in 4 shelters this year. This one's not bad. They let me read." Lucas crouched beside him, ignoring the press flashbulbs popping behind them. "You like science?" Noah nodded, eyes wide now. "I want to fix the world. Just don't know how yet." Lucas hesitated. "Do you have family?" Noah's gaze dropped again. He shrugged. "Caseworker says they left, or died. I don't know. I don't remember much, but I don't got anybody." A pause, then, "Except this book. I found it in a donation box. I carry it everywhere." Lucas glanced down again at the title. He remembered it. He remembered giving that exact book to Emily, his college girlfriend. She had loved solar physics, and he'd surprised her with the first edition on her birthday. Lucas felt the air leave his lungs. Emily. Their whirlwind romance at Stanford. The call, years later, from a mutual friend. She'd moved away, had the baby, put him up for adoption, didn't leave a name, or so Lucas had always believed, but now... Now this boy sat in front of him, with his dimple, his eyes, his curiosity. Lucas cleared his throat. "Noah, do you have anything with your name on it? Like school papers, medical cards?" Noah tilted his head. "I got a folder in my backpack, with stuff from the caseworker. Would you mind showing me?" The boy hesitated, then unzipped a faded blue bag, pulling out a wrinkled manila envelope. Inside, a birth certificate copy. No father listed. Mother, Emily Gray. Lucas blinked hard. Noah watched him. "Are you okay, mister?" Lucas's voice cracked. "I think I might know your mom." Noah frowned. "She died when I was 3. That's what they told me. I don't remember her." Lucas looked away, jaw tight. Tears gathered before he could stop them. This wasn't just a chance encounter. This was his son, and he had been lost, alone, while Lucas built his empire from a penthouse high above the bay. Lucas forced a smile. "Noah, would it be okay if I talked to your caseworker? Just to help a little?" Noah shrugged. "I guess. Long as I don't gotta leave the shelter." Lucas reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. His hand shook. As he stood, he whispered, "I'm not leaving you again." Noah looked up, puzzled. And in that moment, Lucas knew. The book Noah clutched, dog-eared, dirty but fiercely protected, was more than just a symbol of hope. It was the last thread connecting him to the past, and the first bridge to something he never thought he'd have again. Family. Lucas couldn't sleep that night. Back in his waterfront condo, the city lights glittered through floor-to-ceiling windows. His penthouse was silent, too silent. He stood barefoot in his kitchen, fingers curled around a steaming mug of tea he didn't drink. The image of Noah, wide-eyed, clutching that solar book, kept replaying in his mind. Every word, every glance, every unspoken ache the boy carried settled like weight on his chest. He opened a drawer and pulled out an old photo. Emily. She wore a Stanford hoodie, holding up the same book Noah now owned. Her cheeks were flushed from laughter. Back then, Lucas was all ambition and late nights racing toward something he couldn't name. And he'd left her behind. Now, 10 years later, their son sat alone in a shelter, reading by flickering fluorescent lights. Lucas's voice cracked. "God, what did I miss?" By morning, he was already on the phone. "I need a hotel suite," he told his assistant. 2 beds, kitchenette, safe neighborhood near the mission. "For you?" "No," Lucas said. "For a 10-year-old boy. And get Dr. Bennett, full pediatric workup today. Quiet. No questions." He hung up and called his lawyer next. Then he drove. The shelter manager, a tired woman in a sunflower print dress, blinked when she saw him. "Mr. Hayes, you're back? I'd like to talk to Noah's caseworker." The woman hesitated. "He's still asleep, but I'll call her." Lucas nodded. "I'll wait." A few minutes later, Noah appeared, rubbing his eyes, dragging his blue backpack. He froze when he saw Lucas sitting in the folding chair. "You're here," the boy said, surprised. Lucas stood. "Hey, Noah. Thought you were just being nice. Most people don't come back." Lucas bent down to his level. "I meant what I said. I want to help." Noah looked unsure. "You don't even know me." Lucas gave a small smile. "Maybe not yet, but I want to." The caseworker arrived shortly after. Her expression was guarded. She carried a clipboard and an air of practiced skepticism. Lucas shook her hand. "I'm Lucas Hayes. I believe Noah may be my biological son." She blinked. "You're the CEO of Hayes Renewables?" "Yes, but more importantly, I'm here because I think this boy is mine." Her eyebrows rose. "That's a big claim." "I know," he said softly. "That's why I'm starting with a DNA test. In the meantime, I've arranged a safe hotel and medical care, just until we know." She narrowed her eyes. "You can't just take him." "I'm not," Lucas said quickly. "He stays under your supervision. I'll fund everything. I just want him safe and warm." Noah tugged his sleeve. "Do I have to leave the shelter?" Lucas crouched beside him. No one's forcing anything. I just thought you might like a soft bed. Maybe pancakes in the morning. Noah hesitated, then whispered, "Will the book come too?" Lucas smiled. Absolutely. That afternoon, Lucas picked up Noah from the shelter and helped him into the back seat. The boy looked out the window quietly as they drove. When they reached the hotel, Noah walked in slowly, eyes wide at the clean lobby and bowl of green apples on the counter. In the suite, he walked to the far bed, dropped his bag, and set the solar book carefully on the nightstand like it was treasure. Lucas watched in silence. Noah turned to him. "You said you build solar panels?" Lucas nodded. "Yeah. We power homes, schools, hospitals, even shelters like yours." Noah lit up. "Can you teach me?" Lucas sat beside him. "That's exactly what I want to do." For the first time, Noah smiled. Not a guarded smirk, a real, toothy, lopsided smile that lit up his face. It was the same smile Lucas saw in the mirror when he was 10. Later that night, as Noah drifted to sleep with his book tucked under one arm, Lucas sat by the window, staring into the dark. Tomorrow would bring lawyers, doctors, and questions. But tonight, in this quiet room, something sacred began. And it all started with an old book, a bridge between what was lost and what could be found. The hotel room was quiet, save for the soft hum of traffic outside and the rustle of pages turning. Lucas sat on the edge of his bed, watching Noah flip through his solar book. The boy had read it twice already since they checked in. Each time, he stopped at the same page, a diagram of a miniature rooftop system with a hand-drawn sketch in the margin. "That one's my favorite," Noah said, pointing. It saves light for later." Lucas nodded. "It's called a battery backup, for cloudy days." Noah tilted his head. "I like that. Even if the sun disappears, you still have something left." Lucas's chest tightened. "Yeah," he said softly. "Something left." The moment lingered. Lucas reached into his jacket and pulled out a small black box. He opened it and revealed a ring, worn silver, engraved with 3 initials. Noah stared. "What's that?" "My college ring," Lucas said. "I gave it to someone once. She wore it all the time." Noah leaned in. "Who?" Lucas hesitated. "Your mom, Emily." Noah's expression shifted. "You knew her?" Lucas nodded. "We were close. A long time ago. She never told me about you." "I didn't know about you either, Noah," Lucas said, voice rough. "Not until now." Noah stared at him for a beat. "So, you're saying, you think you're my dad?" Lucas met his eyes. "I don't just think it. I feel it." Noah looked down at his lap. "I don't remember her face, just her smell, like cinnamon and soap." Lucas swallowed. "She loved science, and you. Then why'd she leave me?" Lucas exhaled slowly. "I don't think she meant to." There was a knock on the door. Lucas stood and opened it. His private investigator, Diane Mercado, stepped in, folders tucked under one arm. She glanced at Noah, then handed Lucas a sealed envelope. "It's her," Diane said quietly. "I confirmed it. Emily Gray. She passed away 6 years ago. Complications from pneumonia. She was working 2 jobs. Never listed a father's name." Lucas didn't speak. "She had a file with CPS," Diane added. "Noah was placed in emergency foster care, moved around a lot. No stable guardianship." Lucas's grip tightened on the envelope. "Thank you." When Diane left, Noah asked, "Is that about my mom?" Lucas knelt beside him. "Yes, and I need to be honest with you, Noah." The boy's eyes darkened. "You're not taking me back, are you?" "No," Lucas said firmly. "I want to make sure you're safe, that you're with someone who cares." Noah sat silent for a moment. "Everyone always says that at first. Then they disappear." Lucas reached for the book on the nightstand, turning to the same diagram. "You said this was your favorite page, the backup that stores light." Noah nodded slowly. Lucas tapped the sketch. "I want to be your backup, Noah. For every cloudy day, I'm not perfect, but I'm still here. Noah stared at him, then whispered, "You think you could really be my dad?" Lucas opened the envelope. Inside, 2 photos. One of Emily, one of her holding a newborn wrapped in a pale blue blanket. Lucas handed them to Noah. The boy's fingers trembled as he held the picture. "That's me?" Lucas nodded. "And that's her." Noah traced the edge of the photo. "She's smiling." Lucas placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "She loved you. And now, I'd like to be the one to keep loving you." Noah didn't speak. He simply reached into his backpack and pulled out a wrinkled piece of paper. A drawing, a stick figure boy holding hands with a taller man in a suit. Underneath, in careful block letters, "I wish I had a dad who knew me." Noah looked up. "You think maybe you could learn?" Lucas's voice cracked. "I'd be honored." And as the night deepened around them, that drawing sat on the nightstand, no longer a wish but the beginning of a bond. One built, not on perfection, but the promise to stay. The next morning, the sun filtered through the hotel window in soft, golden stripes, casting light on Noah's drawing beside the nightstand. Lucas sat at the desk, phone pressed to his ear, eyes red from lack of sleep. "Yes," he said quietly. "Priority test. I want the results rushed." He ended the call just as Noah stirred in bed. "Hey," Lucas said gently. "Sleep okay?" Noah blinked, then nodded. "The pillows are weird. Too soft." Lucas smiled faintly. "I guess we'll have to break them in." Noah sat up slowly, clutching the solar book to his chest. "Do I still go to school today?" "Not today," Lucas said. "We have a doctor's visit. Just a checkup." Noah's expression tensed. "Like tests?" "No needles," Lucas promised. "Just making sure you're healthy." They arrived at a small private clinic where Lucas's longtime friend, Dr. Bennett, waited. She knelt down, warm and kind, and spoke directly to Noah. "You like science?" she asked. Noah nodded shyly. "Solar energy." "Smart choice," she said with a grin. "Let's make sure you're fueled up for all those inventions." The appointment was quick. Physical exams, basic vision tests, height and weight. But as Noah changed back into his clothes, Lucas sat with Dr. Bennett in the hallway. "Is he okay?" he asked. She lowered her voice. "He's malnourished. Mild anemia. Nothing we can't reverse, but he's been without consistent care for a long time." Lucas's jaw tightened. "Anything serious?" "He's resilient," she said softly. "But emotionally, it's fragile ground. Don't disappear on him." Lucas glanced at the exam room. "I won't." That afternoon, they stopped for sandwiches at a corner deli. Lucas watched as Noah carefully removed the lettuce and tomato, lining them up on a napkin. "You always do that?" Lucas asked. Noah shrugged. "Once someone threw out my sandwich because it was messy, so now I keep it neat. Easier not to lose it." Lucas stared. "You shouldn't have to think that way." Noah gave a half smile. "Shelters teach you stuff." Back at the hotel, the drawing from the night before was still there. Lucas picked it up and studied it again. Noah and a man in a suit, holding hands. He turned to the boy who was now assembling one of the solar models Lucas had delivered earlier. "Noah," Lucas asked gently, "what made you draw this?" The boy didn't look up. "It's just something I wish was real." Lucas knelt beside him. "Would you want that? For real?" Noah paused. "I don't know. People leave. That's what they do." "I won't," Lucas said. "And I know it'll take time to believe that." Noah carefully connected 2 wires. "You sure you're not going to change your mind when the test comes back?" "I won't need a test to know what I already feel," Lucas said, voice thick. "But I'm doing it for you, to prove I'm not running." Noah turned toward him, eyes searching. "Why now?" Lucas exhaled slowly. "Because I didn't know you existed. If I had, I swear to you I would have moved mountains." The silence stretched. Then Noah held up the solar model, its tiny light blinking faintly. "Look," he said softly. "It works." Lucas blinked, then smiled. "You built that?" "Yep," Noah whispered. First one that didn't break. Lucas reached out and touched the blinking diode. That's amazing. Noah grinned, then hesitated. Can I keep it if I have to leave? Lucas placed a hand over Noah's. You're not going anywhere. And as the light on the model blinked steady and warm, Lucas felt something settle inside him. The truth was rising, slow and unstoppable. And for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of what it would say. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime, revealing the quiet elegance of Lucas Hayes's penthouse. Noah stood at the threshold, eyes wide, backpack clutched tightly against his chest. You live here? He asked, barely above a whisper. Lucas nodded, stepping aside. For now, thought you might want to see it. The boy hesitated, then stepped inside. Hardwood floors gleamed beneath his sneakers. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a sweeping view of the Bay Bridge. A grand bookshelf lined the wall, filled with framed patents and weathered engineering books. But Noah's gaze locked onto a sleek, modern desk where a miniature solar model sat. Its copper wire spun faintly under a soft overhead lamp. Noah stepped closer. You made this? Lucas joined him. My first prototype. College project. I kept it because it reminded me where I started. Noah reached out, tracing the tiny solar panel. It looks like it remembers things. Lucas smiled faintly. Maybe it does. They stood in silence, then Lucas gently touched the boy's shoulder. Come to see your room. Down the hall, Lucas opened a white door to reveal a freshly prepared space. Simple, but thoughtful. Twin bed, a desk with a lamp. Shelves lined with books on space, energy, robotics. On the nightstand sat a brand-new solar kit, still in its box. Noah didn't speak. He walked slowly around the room, fingers brushing the shelf edges, the soft comforter, the framed photo of a sunrise Lucas had taken in Joshua Tree. Finally, he turned. This all for me? Lucas nodded. Only if you want it. Noah dropped his backpack at the foot of the bed. Do I have to unpack? Only when you're ready. That night, Noah sat on the edge of the bed, solar book in hand, but didn't open it. Lucas stood by the door. Can I sit with you? Noah gave a small nod. Lucas crossed the room, took a seat beside him, careful to leave space. I'm not expecting anything. I just want you to feel safe here. Noah looked down. I don't know how to be in places like this. You don't have to be anyone but yourself. Noah's voice cracked. What if you change your mind? Lucas inhaled deeply. I won't. There was a pause, then Noah asked, What if the test says I'm not yours? Lucas turned toward him. You already are, Noah, test or not. I feel it in my gut. Just then, Lucas's phone buzzed. He hesitated, then checked it. A text from his lawyer. Court date set. Caseworker requests statement of intent. Lucas stared at the screen for a long beat before sliding it into his pocket. Noah looked up. Was that about me? Lucas didn't lie. Yes, I'm working to make sure I can be your legal guardian. But it'll take a little time. Noah's eyes flickered. People always say that, and then things fall apart. Lucas reached into his coat and pulled out the drawing Noah had made, the stick figure with the man in a suit. He'd had it laminated earlier that day. He handed it to Noah. I kept it, because it reminded me what I almost missed. Noah touched the plastic gently. You really liked it? I framed it. It's going on my office wall. For a moment, the boy said nothing. Then he whispered, Can you read with me? Lucas smiled. I'd like that. They lay side by side, the solar book between them, reading aloud under the soft glow of the desk lamp. And while the city pulsed beyond the glass, high above the noise, a quiet bond began to root, built not from obligation, but from presence. Lucas didn't need the test results to know what he already felt in his bones. But still, as he turned the page, he whispered to himself, Let the truth come. I'm not letting go. The email came at 7:03 a.m. Sharp. Lucas read it twice, barely breathing. Subject, confirmed case history, Emily Gray. He clicked, and the full report opened on his tablet. His fingers hovered above the screen as he scrolled through the timeline. Emily had left San Francisco 11 years ago. She'd taken a job at a bookstore in Santa Rosa. Quiet life. No contact with friends from college. Then, 2 years later, Noah was born. No father listed, no inquiries filed. Lucas swallowed hard as he kept reading. She worked 2 jobs, applied for housing aid, got sick, pneumonia during a cold winter, hospitalized too late. Noah had just turned 4. No family came forward. He entered the foster system 3 weeks after her funeral. Lucas set the tablet down. His hands were shaking. He walked to Noah's room, quiet as the morning fog rolled outside. The boy was still asleep, curled toward the wall, one hand resting on the solar kit box. Lucas sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, "I'm so sorry." Noah stirred. "What?" Lucas hesitated. "I need to tell you something about your mom." The boy sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Is she okay?" Lucas's voice broke. "She passed away 6 years ago." Noah froze. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he asked, his voice suddenly small. Lucas blinked back tears. "No one knew who to tell. She didn't list me as your father. I didn't know about you, Noah. Not until a week ago." Noah didn't say anything. He looked down, lips trembling. "Was she nice?" he finally asked. Lucas nodded slowly. "She was strong, kind. She loved books and stars. And she loved you." Noah stared at his hands. "I don't even remember what she looked like." Lucas pulled out a small photo from his wallet, the one the investigator had recovered. It was slightly faded, but Emily's smile was unmistakable. She held baby Noah close to her chest, wrapped in a soft green blanket. Noah took it gently, his thumb tracing the edge. "I remember that blanket," he whispered. "I used to hide under it when people yelled at the shelter." Lucas's chest tightened. "She protected you as long as she could." Noah looked up. "She didn't think you wanted me?" Lucas answered honestly. "She was scared I wouldn't be ready. She was probably right back then, but not now." That afternoon, Lucas called his lawyer, eyes fixed on the framed drawing Noah had made. "I want to start the custody petition now," he said, "and I want Noah moved under private care immediately. No more bouncing around. I'll cover everything." "There may be delays," the lawyer warned. "Noah's technically a ward of the state. We'll need cooperation from his social worker and a judge's approval." "I'll testify. I'll clear my schedule. Just make it happen." Later, Lucas brought Noah to a quiet overlook above the city. They sat on a wooden bench, watching the fog lift over the Golden Gate Bridge. Noah held the photo in one hand, his solar book in the other. "You think she'd be proud of me?" he asked softly. Lucas placed a hand on his shoulder. "I think she'd be proud of both of us." Noah turned. "Even though you didn't know?" Lucas nodded. "I can't change the past, but I can fight for you now, every single day." Noah hesitated, then slipped the photo into his backpack. Then, "Can we stay here, at your place, just until you know what the judge says?" Lucas smiled. "This is your home, Noah. You don't have to ask." And in that moment, with the city stretching out before them and a faded photo pressed gently against the solar book, Noah leaned his head against Lucas's arm. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. The DNA results arrived late Tuesday morning. Lucas stood alone in his office, the envelope heavy in his hand. He didn't open it right away. Instead, he stared out the window, past the polished skyline, to the distant fog rolling over the bay. He already knew the answer, but the law didn't work on gut feelings. He tore it open. Paternity, 99.9% match. Father, Lucas Hayes. Child, Noah Gray. His breath caught. The confirmation hit harder than expected, not because he doubted it, because now it was real, permanent, binding. He whispered, "You're mine." Down the hall, Noah sat cross-legged in his room, building a solar rover from a new kit Lucas had brought home. The instructions lay untouched. He was winging it, tiny fingers twisting wires, attaching gears with the confidence of a kid who didn't overthink. Lucas stepped inside and sat beside him. "Guess what just came in?" he asked. Noah didn't look up. "The test?" Lucas nodded. "Yeah." Noah froze. "What did it say?" Lucas placed the envelope gently on the floor. "It says you're mine, and I'm yours." The boy stared at it like it might disappear. Then softly, "You sure?" Lucas smiled. "I've never been more sure of anything." Noah blinked fast. "Does this mean I get to stay?" Lucas's voice cracked. "It means you never have to leave again." Noah looked down at the rover. "Even if I mess stuff up?" "Especially then," Lucas said. "That's what family's for." They sat in silence. The gears in Noah's hands clicked softly as he continued building. Later that afternoon, Lucas met with his attorney in the study. "I want to file for full custody," he said. The attorney nodded. "We'll need to submit to family court immediately. Social services will evaluate your home. It's routine, but you may get pushback." Lucas folded his arms. "Why?" "You're high profile, wealthy, a sudden guardian to a child from the foster system. The state's cautious." Lucas's jaw clenched. Noah's been bounced between strangers for years, and now he has someone who loves him. Let them question it. I'll prove it. The next morning, a social worker named Melissa arrived for the first home visit. Noah was quiet, sitting stiff on the living room couch while she asked questions. "Do you feel safe here?" she asked gently. Noah nodded. "Do you feel comfortable talking to Lucas when something upsets you?" Noah looked over at Lucas, who gave him an encouraging nod. Then he whispered, "Yeah, he listens." Melissa smiled. "That's good." As she rose to leave, she paused at the doorway. "He's attached already. That's rare and beautiful. But if the court delays approval, he may need to go back into care temporarily." Lucas stepped forward. "That won't happen." "Mr. Hayes," she said, firm but kind, "I know you want to protect him, but sometimes—" "No," Lucas cut in. "I'm not another temporary face. I missed 10 years already. He's staying here." Melissa looked at him for a long moment. Then she said quietly, "Then be ready to fight for him." That night, Noah crawled into bed but didn't lie down. He sat upright, backpack at his side. Lucas peeked in. "Hey, need anything?" Noah shook his head. "Just in case. I like to keep it packed." Lucas walked in and sat at the foot of the bed. "You don't need to run anymore." Noah bit his lip. "They said I might have to leave, that maybe a judge won't let me stay." Lucas took a deep breath. Then he handed Noah the laminated drawing, the one he kept on his desk. "You gave me this," Lucas said. "Now, let me give you something." He reached into his pocket and handed Noah a house key on a silver ring. Noah stared at it. "It's not just my place anymore," Lucas said. "It's ours." For a long moment, Noah said nothing. Then he slid the key into the front pocket of his backpack and finally unzipped it, pulling out his extra clothes one by one. That night, for the first time, he slept with the light off. Lucas paced outside the boardroom, the glass doors muffling the buzz of executives inside. His phone vibrated again, another calendar reminder. Investor call at noon, quarterly review at 3, dinner with stakeholders at 7. And, somewhere in between, picking Noah up from his STEM placement tour. He checked his watch. 11:17 a.m. He was already late. He called his assistant. "Reschedule the investor call. Push the dinner, too." There was a pause. "Sir, that's the founder of Orion Tech. I know who it is. Move it." Lucas ended the call and bolted toward the elevator. By the time he arrived at the academy's lobby, Noah sat alone on a bench, knees bouncing, clutching the solar book like a shield. The tour coordinator stood beside him, arms crossed. "Mr. Hayes," she said, curt. "We waited 45 minutes." Lucas knelt. "I'm sorry, Noah. Traffic was... I should have been here sooner." Noah didn't look up. "It's fine." Lucas turned to the woman. "Can I take him now?" She nodded. "We've sent the info packet to your email." In the car, silence stretched between them like wire. Lucas tried to speak twice and stopped. Finally, Noah said, "It's okay. You're busy." Lucas gripped the steering wheel. "No, it's not okay." "I'm used to waiting," Noah muttered. "At shelters, you wait for everything." Lucas pulled over. "Noah," he said, turning in his seat, "you are not another meeting, not a checkbox. You are my son." Noah blinked, eyes wet. "But what if your job needs you more than I do?" Lucas swallowed. "Then I'll choose wrong. Every time." That night, Lucas sat in his home office, surrounded by blueprints and emails he couldn't bring himself to open. The laminated drawing Noah gave him leaned against his monitor. He stared at it a long time, then opened his laptop and typed, "Subject, time reallocation. Urgent." He cleared the next 3 weeks. Declined 4 speaking events. Pushed 2 launches. He needed space. Time. Presence. The next morning, he cooked breakfast for Noah. Burned pancakes and all. They laughed. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. Later, while Noah worked on a circuit board at the dining table, Lucas's phone rang again. It was Melissa, the social worker. "We got word from the judge," she said. "The court needs an in-person appearance. They want to see your commitment." Lucas stood, voice steady. "Name the time. I'll be there." Melissa hesitated. "They also received an anonymous tip." Lucas's stomach dropped. What kind of tip? That Noah was brought into your home too fast. That he's just part of a PR stunt. Lucas's voice went cold. "That's a lie." "I know," she said, "but the court will ask questions." After the call, Lucas returned to the dining table. Noah was focused, tongue sticking out slightly as he connected 2 wires. "Look what I made, Dad," he said. Lucas froze. It was the first time Noah had said it out loud. Dad. He crossed the room slowly and sat beside him. The small light on the circuit board flickered on. Bright. Warm. "See?" Noah grinned. "Stored power. Even works when the lights go out." Lucas whispered, "You do too." The moment held. But inside, Lucas knew the real test was coming. Not in a lab or courtroom, but in proving to Noah, again and again, that he wasn't going anywhere. That no matter how powerful the storm outside, their light would hold. Noah stood at the threshold of his new room, backpack finally tucked away in the closet, bed neatly made, not out of fear, but pride. A week had passed since the judge granted temporary guardianship to Lucas. Full custody was pending, but for now, the house echoed with laughter instead of silence. "Come downstairs," Lucas called from the living room. "I've got a surprise." Noah jogged down the sleek staircase, bare feet padding against the wood. Lucas stood beside a large box, grinning. Noah tilted his head. "What is it?" Lucas lifted the lid to reveal a telescope, sleek, silver, polished. "For your Star Talks," Lucas said. "Thought we could look together." Noah's eyes lit up. "Like, you and me?" Lucas nodded. "Just us." That night, they set it up on the balcony. The fog had cleared, revealing a velvet sky dotted with stars. "There," Lucas pointed. "That one's Vega." Noah adjusted the scope. "Looks like it's winking." Lucas chuckled. "Maybe it knows you're watching." Noah turned. "Did you always like stars?" "I used to. Then I stopped looking up." "Why?" Lucas paused. "Because I didn't think I had anything left to wish for." Noah went quiet. Then he whispered, "I wish you'd known sooner." Lucas knelt beside him. "Me too." The next morning they visited the STEM Academy. Bright walls, rows of science kits, and teachers with warm smiles. Principal Lee extended a hand. "Noah, welcome. We're excited to have you." Noah shifted closer to Lucas, clutching the solar model he'd built. Lucas crouched beside him. "Remember what you said last night? That stars still shine, even when we forget to look?" Noah nodded. "Let's go show them how bright you are." That afternoon, while Noah attended his first class, Lucas sat in the parking lot answering emails. One caught his eye. Subject line, investigation pending, board concern. He opened it. A message from the chairman of his own board. Concerns have been raised regarding your recent public actions. Media attention, canceled meetings, and personal disclosures could jeopardize investor confidence. We request a formal review of your priorities." Lucas's jaw tightened. He'd known this was coming. Still, it stung. That evening, he cooked dinner, grilled cheese and soup. Noah recapped his day with excited bursts of facts. "We made a balloon rocket. Mine went crooked, but Ms. Harris said it had good thrust." Lucas smiled. "You want to show me?" Noah lit up. "After dinner." Later, Lucas stood in his home office, reading the board's letter again. He looked over at the framed drawing, then the photo of Emily holding newborn Noah. His legacy wasn't in stocks or contracts. It was in that backpack now zipped shut in the closet, in the telescope on the balcony, in the boy brushing his teeth upstairs, who now called him Dad. Lucas drafted a reply. "To the board. My priority hasn't changed. It's just finally aligned. I'm not abandoning the company. I'm anchoring it in something real." He hit send. Down the hall, Noah poked his head into the office. "Hey, you coming?" Lucas smiled. "Yeah, let's launch that rocket." And as they raced down the hallway, solar model in one hand, balloon rocket in the other, the house filled with something it hadn't known in years. Joy, steady as starlight. A home finally powered by love. Lucas found Noah curled up on the window seat, knees pulled to his chest, backpack tucked tight under his arm, packed again. "Noah?" Lucas asked softly. The boy didn't look up. "It's just in case." Lucas stepped closer. "In case of what?" Noah shrugged. "People always say nice things right before they leave." Lucas sat across from him, his voice steady. "I'm not leaving, and I'm not letting anyone take you away." Noah's grip tightened on the zipper. "What if they make you? Like the judge or that lady in the suit?" "You mean Melissa?" Noah nodded. Lucas sighed, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out the silver house key, the one he'd given Noah. "This still yours?" Noah looked at it, then back down. "You don't need to keep the bag packed anymore," Lucas said. "You already belong here. You don't need to be ready to run." Noah whispered, "What if I do something wrong?" Lucas leaned in. "Then we figure it out. Together. You don't lose love for messing up." Still, that night, Noah refused to sleep in the bed. He laid a blanket on the floor beside it. Lucas watched from the doorway, heart heavy. The next morning, Lucas made pancakes, his specialty now. Burnt edges, way too much syrup. Noah smiled through his first bite. Later, they visited a local science store. Lucas handed Noah a basket. "Pick what you want for your desk." Noah hovered, fingers grazing test tubes, motor kits, a mini wind turbine. At the checkout, the clerk eyed them. "Looks like your dad's got you set for some big experiments, huh?" Noah hesitated. Lucas waited. Then Noah looked up and said, "Yeah, he helps me build stuff." That night, Lucas caught him rearranging the desk again. Models lined up in perfect rows, books stacked by height. Noah frowned, then started unzipping the backpack again. Lucas walked in slowly. "Still not ready to put it away?" Noah bit his lip. "I just don't want to forget where my stuff is, in case I wake up somewhere else." Lucas crouched beside him. "You won't. But maybe. We put something in the bag just in case. Not everything. Just one thing. So it feels like you've got a choice." Noah looked at him, confused. Lucas pulled out the laminated drawing, the one Noah had given him, now slightly curled at the corners. He handed it to Noah. "Put this in there. Not because you're leaving, but because it reminds you what you've built." Noah carefully placed the drawing in the front pocket. Then he zipped the bag, slowly, and pushed it into the closet. It was the first night he crawled into bed. Lucas stood at the doorway longer than usual. "No more lights?" he asked gently. Noah shook his head. "I've got the stars now." And as Lucas walked back to his room, he realized redemption wasn't grand. It was quiet, soft, built in inches, not declarations. The next morning, as they packed for a weekend science fair in Palo Alto, Lucas caught Noah staring at the framed photo of his mother. "You miss her?" Lucas asked. Noah nodded. "Sometimes I wonder if she'd like all this." Lucas crouched down, hand on Noah's shoulder. "She'd be proud, especially of how brave you've been." Noah took a breath. "Think she'd like the solar car?" "I think she'd ride shotgun." They both laughed. And in that room filled with models, books, and one retired backpack still tucked quietly in the closet, the mansion finally felt like something more. A home, a promise, a place where no one had to pack just in case. The weekend sun filtered through the greenhouse-like ceiling of the workshop Lucas had converted from an old garage. Dust motes danced in the golden beams while wires, panels, and circuit boards covered every surface. Noah adjusted his goggles. "Okay, so if we reroute the voltage here, it might charge faster." Lucas leaned over. "You sure about that? Looks risky." Noah grinned. "Only one way to find out." He flipped the switch. A whirring noise filled the room. The small solar rover they'd been building rolled forward, then suddenly jerked right and slammed into a stack of books. Lucas raised his brows. "Might have been too much juice." They both burst out laughing. After the laughter faded, Noah turned serious. "Can I tell you something?" "Always." "I used to pretend my dad was an astronaut, that he went to space and couldn't come back." Lucas's throat tightened. "Why an astronaut?" Noah shrugged. "Because it was better than thinking he just didn't want me." Lucas knelt, meeting his eyes. "Noah, I didn't know. I never would have left you if I had." "I know," Noah said. Then, more softly, "I just didn't know if I could trust you." Lucas nodded. "That's okay. I'll earn it. Every day." Later that night, they lay on sleeping bags in the workshop surrounded by half-built kits and wire scraps. The power had flickered out during a storm, but they didn't mind. Lucas pointed at the dim ceiling. "Remember what you said? Stored power still shines." Noah smiled. "Even when the lights go out." Outside, the rain drummed steady against the windows. Inside, their bond sparked brighter. The next day, Lucas took Noah to his corporate office for the first time. The receptionist did a double-take. "This is Noah," Lucas said. "My son." Noah clutched his backpack strap tighter, staying close. Lucas guided him through the glass corridors, past engineers and analysts. Some nodded politely. A few whispered behind closed doors. In the executive conference room, Noah's eyes widened at the view. San Francisco stretched beyond the skyline, sunlight bouncing off the bay. "Whoa," he said. "This is your job?" Lucas chuckled. "Part of it." He opened a drawer and handed Noah a framed photo. Lucas as a college kid, arm around a young woman with soft features and wind-blown hair. "Your mom," he said gently. "Emily." Noah stared at it. "I look like her." "You've got her laugh," Lucas said, voice catching, "and her courage." Noah traced the edge of the frame with one finger, then looked up. "Can I keep it?" Lucas nodded. "Of course." On the way home, Noah was quiet. In the back seat, he whispered, "She kept me safe for as long as she could, didn't she?" Lucas met his eyes in the rearview mirror. "She did, and now it's my turn." That evening, Lucas found Noah at his desk, sketching. Lines arched across the page. Wires, gears, a sun with rays reaching toward tiny rooftops. He looked up. "I want to build something. For real. Something that helps." Lucas smiled. "What do you have in mind?" "A light that never goes out." Lucas sat beside him. "Then we'll build it together." That night, Noah took the drawing, folded it carefully, and placed it in Lucas's briefcase. "Just in case you forget what matters," he said. Lucas pressed his hand over the boy's. "I won't." But he kept the drawing there anyway. And in that moment, surrounded by circuit boards and soft nightlight hum, they weren't just father and son. They were builders, of lights, of trust, of something that might finally last. The following Monday, Lucas walked into the boardroom to find a row of tense faces. Shareholders, legal counsel, and 2 media reps waiting. The air felt colder than usual, thick with judgment. Noah's drawing, still folded neatly in Lucas's inner pocket, pressed against his heart like a reminder. Don't flinch. "Lucas," said Mr. Callahan, head of investor relations, "we've seen the articles. Your sudden absence, the press about the shelter child, your child, has raised concerns." Lucas stayed calm. Concerns about what? About image, reliability, whether your focus is where it should be. Lucas took a breath. "You're asking if being a father makes me a liability?" A few eyes lowered. Callahan continued. "It's about distraction. Personal affairs bleeding into corporate space." Lucas stood. "My personal life doesn't distract me. It fuels me. That boy, my son, is the reason I get up every day with a purpose stronger than profit." He pulled the folded paper from his pocket and laid it on the table. "This is what focus looks like. My 10-year-old drew it. A solar grid that powers shelters. He's never been to an engineering school, but he sees a future we've ignored." Silence followed. After the meeting, Lucas returned home exhausted. Noah looked up from the kitchen table, mouth full of cereal. "Did they yell at you?" Lucas chuckled. "Kinda, but I yelled back." Noah grinned. "Good." That evening, a news alert flashed on Lucas's phone. CEO's secret son sparks corporate uproar. Investors divided over family disclosure. He turned the screen off. He looked at Noah instead. "Wanna go for a drive?" They ended up at the Golden Gate Bridge overlook, city lights shimmering below. Lucas leaned on the hood of the car, Noah beside him with a cup of hot cocoa. "I used to come here when I needed to think," Lucas said. "Now I bring you." Noah sipped quietly, then said, "Do I make things harder?" Lucas looked at him, eyes soft. "You make things real. That's better." The next day, a reporter caught them leaving the STEM Academy. "Mr. Hayes, is it true your son was homeless before you found him?" Lucas stopped, shielding Noah gently. "My son wasn't homeless. He just hadn't found home yet." Click, flash, another headline was born. Later that week, a letter arrived. Certified mail from the board's legal team. A formal review hearing. They were considering placing Lucas on a temporary leadership hiatus. Lucas sat in his office, the letter trembling in his hands. Noah peeked in. "Why's your face doing that thing again?" Lucas forced a smile. "Grown-up stuff." Noah walked over and set something on his desk. A tiny solar model, hand-painted, lopsided. "I made this, for your office," Noah said, "in case you need to remember." Lucas's voice broke. "Thank you, buddy." The model sat there all night, a little crooked, a little beautiful, like their journey. The next morning, Lucas buttoned his blazer, clipped on his name badge, and looked in the mirror. Not just as a CEO, as a father, as a man who knew what mattered. He picked up the model, slid it gently into his briefcase, and walked out the door, ready to fight not just for his company, but for the future sitting at his kitchen table, drawing power from the sun. Lucas sat across from the podcast host in a modest downtown studio. Foam walls dulled the outside world. A single mic separated them, the blinking red light signaling they were live. Noah's solar model rested beside Lucas, his quiet anchor. "Mr. Hayes," the host began, "your stories captured hearts nationwide. Why come forward now?" Lucas looked into the camera, voice calm. "Because silence doesn't fix anything. There are over 700,000 children experiencing homelessness in the U.S. every single night. And until recently, one of them was my son." The host leaned in. "You didn't know?" Lucas shook his head. "No. His mother and I were young. We lost touch. She passed away, and he slipped through every crack until he landed in a shelter. I met him at a charity event. He was reading about solar panels." The host blinked. "That's poetic." Lucas offered a small smile, "More like fate." He paused, then added, "The night I brought Noah home, he didn't unpack his backpack. He kept one foot ready to run. That taught me something. Kids like him aren't just missing food or shelter. They're missing trust." The audience in the live stream chat exploded. Wow! Respect! This is what real leadership looks like. Back home, Noah was watching with his babysitter. His eyes never left the screen. The host continued. Some shareholders worry your new role as a parent could shift your focus. What do you say to that? Lucas didn't flinch. I say they're right. My focus has shifted. It's sharper now, because the future isn't just numbers. It's children. It's legacy. He glanced at the solar model. Noah built this. It's imperfect, wobbly, but it lights up. That's how I see my life now. Maybe not perfect, but we're trying to light something real. The next day, his words went viral. #Solar Dad trended. Networks picked up the interview. The company's inbox overflowed with letters, shelter volunteers, adoptive parents, former foster kids. But not everyone cheered. A formal memo arrived from the board. Shareholder meeting required. Concerns remain about leadership stability. Lucas stood by his office window, phone pressed to his ear. I understand, he said, but I won't walk that back. Noah entered quietly, carrying a notebook. Dad? Lucas hung up. What's up, buddy? I've been thinking. What if we made solar kits for kids who don't have electricity? Not just build them, teach them how. Lucas blinked. You want to teach? Noah shrugged. I don't want anyone to feel like I did. Cold. Powerless. Lucas knelt. You'd be good at it. Noah smiled. You too. That night, Lucas wrote a letter to the board. It read, in part, If leadership means choosing image over impact, then I'll gladly choose impact. I'm not just building a company anymore, I'm building a life, with a boy who used to fall asleep wondering if anyone cared. Now he's dreaming about light, and so am I. The next morning, Lucas held a press conference outside his company's headquarters. No suits, no backdrop, just a solar kit in his hands and Noah at his side. My name is Lucas Hayes, he said into the mic, and this is my son. We're starting a pilot program. STEM kits for shelter kids, built by kids for kids. It's time we stopped talking about potential and started lighting it up. The crowd erupted. A journalist called out, Mr. Hayes, what's your end goal here? Lucas looked at Noah, then back at the crowd. To make sure no kid sleeps in the dark again. The solar model in his hand glowed softly under the sun. The classroom was buzzing. Laughter, questions, scattered papers, and tiny hands holding solar wires filled the room at the newly launched Bright Start STEM Lab, hosted inside a converted shelter near Mission Street. Lucas stood at the back, arms crossed, watching Noah lead his group of kids. His son was explaining how sunlight turned into power with a cereal box model, cut clean, carefully taped, and glowing under a lamp. Now, connect the wire here, Noah said, pointing gently. That's how we store energy, just like my dad taught me. A younger boy whispered, You got a dad who teaches you? Noah hesitated. Then he smiled. Yeah, I didn't always, but now I do. Lucas turned away briefly, swallowing the lump in his throat. He hadn't imagined redemption would look like a cardboard box, glowing faintly under desk lamps. But it did. Later, while cleaning up, Noah tugged on his shirt. Dad? Lucas turned. Yeah, buddy? I made you something. Noah held up a frame. Inside it was a model solar panel, painted in blue and yellow, and under it the words, written in sharp pencil, You gave me power, so I built you light. Lucas knelt. This is the best thing anyone's ever made for me. He hugged his son tight. For the first time, Noah didn't tense up. He leaned in. I'm not scared anymore, Noah whispered. That night, they brought the frame home. Lucas hung it in his office, right behind his desk, replacing a stock market award. The following week, the shelter's small lab expanded, thanks to anonymous donations that poured in after the podcast. Lucas refused to take credit. Instead, he directed the spotlight onto the kids. Noah became the face of it. young, sincere, hopeful. During a school visit, a little girl asked him, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Noah smiled, shy but certain. A builder of homes and lights, and maybe dads. Everyone laughed softly, but Lucas teared up. They went home that evening, hand in hand. Lucas no longer rushed into phone calls or left before dinner. They built a new ritual. 1 hour before bed, no screens, just talking. Sometimes about science, sometimes about the past, sometimes nothing. One night, Noah asked, "If Mom had told you, do you think you would have stayed?" Lucas thought carefully. "I don't know. I'd like to think I would have tried. But I wasn't the man I am now. I think I had to lose a lot to understand what matters." Noah nodded. "I think she did what she thought was best." "She loved you," Lucas said, voice soft. "That much, I know." At a year-end gala, Lucas stood in front of donors and board members with Noah seated in the front row. He cleared his throat. "We started with one solar kit in one hotel room. Now, over 5,000 shelter kids have built working solar panels with their own hands." Applause. "But I didn't just find my son. I found purpose, real legacy, and I believe healing starts when we stop hiding from what hurt us." He glanced at Noah. "I hid for too long." When he finished, Noah ran up on stage and hugged him without a word. Someone snapped a photo. That photo would later hang in every Bright Start classroom, captioned with Noah's handwriting, "We built light." Lucas returned home that night and stood in his office looking at the model in the frame. He traced the edges with his finger, remembering the scared boy in the shelter. That boy was gone. In his place stood a builder, of kits, of courage, of connection. Lucas whispered to himself, "We found each other in the dark, but we're staying in the light." And just outside, the solar-powered porch light blinked on.